In this tutorial, we're going to be discussing how to use blending modes and filters. So let's create a new flash file, ActionScript 3.0. And the first things we're going to do is go to File, Import to Stage, and get a texture. You can go on Google and Google Textures and Google Images and find a bunch of textures. I got this little kind of sand wall kind of thing going on, like a wall. I'm going to resize this. No, I'm just going to leave it like this. Go back to, put this 80%. And then just convert this to a symbol. And then we just get a texture, any kind of texture, whatever you want. And I'm going to type in texture. Make it a movie clip. Name this layer textures. Make a new layer. And let's name this text. Get some text. Let's make some text and type in whatever you want. I'm gonna type in text. Some text. Escape V. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Let's see. And then you got some text, alright, make sure it's big. And then what we're going to do is we're going to convert this to a symbol. I'm going to name this text, make sure it's a movie clip, and minimize everything in the properties panel with your text selected. And you're going to see display, open that, and you're going to see blending. Blending is pretty much how two different layers or two different objects can blend with each other. So if we were to set this to darken, you see that it's now a little darkened, but let's put this at lighten. And now you can't see it because, well, let me change this color. Make this to some kind of green color so you can get some of it. And now you see that when it's enlightened, you have your text a little bit lightened. When you have darkened, it's gonna bring out the dark colors of green. And to make this a little more interesting to put overlay, doesn't look as good, but you know, you have to mess around with the blendings. It pretty much tells how it's gonna blend with the texture. So if let's rotate this a bit. Let's turn this around. Let's add a filter. Let's put blur kind of thing. A little blur. Let's put medium. Let's change the, let's see, display to, and now you see that it looks like it's kind of written on there, the text, which gives you a pretty cool effect. And you don't see yourself messing around with this. I don't mess around with this much, but it's pretty useful. That's what blending does. It lets you blend objects with other objects, whatever is on top or whatever's on bottom. So let's go to the filters now. You saw that I just used a blur filter, and what that is, it blurs your objects, whether it's a movie clip or a button. You can't use filters in, or blends, either one, in graphics, only movie clips and buttons. And what the blur does, it lets you add a little blur to it, and you can blur the X and Y, and they're together, chained together, as you can see. And you can break these chains and mess with the blurs a bit. Let's lock these two together again. And you can also set the quality. You want to use the lowest quality because, well, high quality is just going to take too much memory, and medium or low is just as good. So I like to keep it at low or medium. You can, let's delete this. You can delete a filter. You already know how to do that. Add a new filter. That's your drop shadow. And what drop shadow does is that it adds a shadow behind whatever you have. So let's put that shadow strength up a bit. Can't quite see it, so I'm gonna delete this. Well, hold on. Scene 1. I'm gonna set the display to normal. Let's rotate this back a bit, and the drop shadow adds a shadow behind whatever object you have. You can set the X and Y just like the blur. You can also set the strength, the quality, the angle, so it moves this around a bit, so you can see. You can set the distance, so how far it is, and if it's a little bit if you were setting it at a distance, you probably want to set this to a lower strength. Makes it look kind of 3D and stuff. You can use knockout, which means that the text is more of an outer line. Let's put this distance back, and you see that the text is kind of pretty much gone, but it isn't. It's just a shadow, and the text is an outline of the text. Inner shadow is when the shadow's inside the text, and hide object is when the object is pretty much gone. And you can set the color of the drop shadow to whatever you want. Let's delete this filter and try another one. Let's try glow, and this adds glow to your text. Oops, let me delete this. It's pretty much the same options as the last one. This is pretty much has some cool effects. Let's delete this. And you got a bunch of more which you can mess with if you want. But that's pretty much it. The filters and blendings. And that's, yeah, it lets you add effects to movie clips and buttons only. So thanks for watching.